Okay, so before we start, I would like to introduce Rebecca Oxford. She is the Professor Emerita and Distinguished Scholar Teacher at the University of Maryland. She's written and co-edited 15 books, 7 on peace building and transforming education, and 8 on language learning and teaching. Her most recent 2021 book is Peace Building in Language Education. And you're probably very familiar with language learning strategies, what every teacher should know, which is also available in Korean, Japanese, Arabic, and of course, English. Rebecca has visited Korea, her adopted country, 4 times to give conference plenaries and see her beloved doctoral graduates who are Korean. And we're so happy for her to be joining us here today. By the magic of Zoom. She has taught languages and psychology and is a long-time language teacher and educator. Rebecca's Oxford's research has changed the way the world teaches languages. That's from her Lifetime Achievement Award. So, Rebecca, would you like me to start sharing the slides? Okay, I will share that now. So Rebecca, if you'd just like to unmute, and I will mute myself.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. Thank you. All right. Today I'm going to be talking about teaching language and teaching peace. I taught languages and I was a language teacher educator for a long time, but I didn't put peace and language teaching together until about 15 years ago. And then I realized, and I'm going to say this a few times, that if you are teaching language or if you are helping in an administrative way or any other way with the language teaching program or with TESOL, then you are already a peace builder, because this profession seems to be all about teaching peace across languages, across cultures. So if you haven't thought about this, just think about it as we go through the talk, because I think that you're already a peace builder. And if you get to know Jocelyn Wright, she is the queen of peace, perhaps, around here. She has a wonderful website called Peace Linguistics. So get hold of Jocelyn for the URL for that website. Very, very interesting. Okay, so she is one of my buddies over here. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. I'm going to ask you a few questions and we're going to answer them during this talk. Why, what, who, and how can we think about integrating peace into our language classes, into our language programs? Number one, why should we even integrate peace into our language classes? Even though you may know that you are a peace builder, why should you consciously integrate peace into language teaching? What is peace and who can tell us? And then how can we integrate peace into language classes? So that's why, what, who, and how. And I hope by the time that we finish with this talk that you'll be able to answer these all yourself. Okay, so let's go on. First of all, here's the question that came earliest. Why should we integrate peace into language classes? Why should we do this in a conscious way? So let me count the reasons. The reasons can be understood through ripples, waves, and then changing outside of yourself and changing inside of yourself. So you may think this is pretty odd. Let's look at each one of these and see how they tell us why should we integrate peace. Okay. Why should we integrate peace? Because a drop of water ripples outward, and peace does too. Okay, you throw a little stone or pebble into a drop of water and it has great ramifications. Peace does too. Every little thing that you do for peace, understanding it in yourself and helping other people understand it, and it helps to ripple outward. Okay, there's another reason, the next reason why. Because the ripples of peace that go outward can become mighty waves. The ripples of peace can become mighty waves. So it's not just a little bit, it's what we all do together can become mighty waves of peace. Why else? Another reason why we should think about peace and understand that we are peace builders. Gandhi said that we need to be the change that we want to see in the world. Very important. We want to be it. We want to be peace. Okay, why again? Because we need cultures of peace. We need to be involved consciously in being a peace builder, because we are building cultures right here. You're building cultures in the classroom. You're building cultures in parts of Korea and Japan and wherever people are from, building cultures of peace. Okay, how about the next slide? Why should we consider peace? Because, I love this heart, we can change hearts and minds, including our own. Okay? So what is peace? A lot of people say, well, peace is quiet. You know, peace, you don't have any problems. Well, Martin Luther King said, peace is actually harmony that is attained by working with conflicting perspectives, not the same perspective, working with conflicting perspectives productively. And so a shorter way to think about it is peace is harmony and working well with conflict. Okay. Now I want to show you this because this is a real happening. You know, this happened in my country not that long ago. So what's going on here? Who's in the picture? First of all, can somebody unmute yourself and tell me, hi, Willie. Can somebody tell me, who is that guy on the right? Okay, I see head shaking. That is Martin Luther King when he was a younger man. And, you know, he spent his entire adulthood working on peace before he was assassinated for his views about racial justice and peace in 1968. And by the way, that happened in Memphis, Tennessee, in the South, And I was just 2 hours away. I was in college in Tennessee, 2 hours away from where he was assassinated. And he has, ever since that, he has been a mentor to me in my heart and in my mind and in society. So he is being pursued and pushed by these policemen, all white. And in this particular row, the dissidents, the people of peace, are all Black men. That is not the way it always is. Thank goodness. It's a very mixed crowd working for peace, most normally. All right, so this doesn't look so hot. That is not a peace picture. Okay, let's go ahead. Who tells us about peace? Peace builders and religions do. Now, not every religion tells us about peace. Some religions or some parts of religions tell us the opposite. There are some religions, and I won't really mention the specifics, but in a Buddhist country, the Buddhists have driven out the Muslims. Okay. In other countries, it could be a different combination. So not all religions tell us about peace. Spirituality and some religions teach us about peace. Okay, next slide. All right. I hope some of you know this wonderful lady here, Mother Teresa. And she said, peace begins with a smile. And she wasn't always a happy person. She actually suffered from depression a lot of the time. But her way of engaging people and bringing them into a peaceful conversation was the smile. And she said, if we have no peace, that is because we've forgotten that we belong to each other. We belong to each other. So all of us who are in this session, whether you can see each other or not, you belong, we belong to each other. Okay. Now, here's Martin Luther King again. He's my guy. And he said, peace is not a distant goal, but it's a means to arrive at that goal. Okay, so the goal is getting along, understanding, having what he called a beloved community. And that community could be in the world, it could be in just one city, it could be in just one neighborhood, it doesn't matter. So getting along and understanding each other is a means to get to that goal. And you know what he said, true peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of justice. Okay, let's go on. Now, what I'm going to show you are some pictures of people who are engaged in peace, and some of them are very famous, and some of them are not. Okay, here's Martin Luther King. He was in the Birmingham jail. Now, my home is currently in Alabama, although I spent many years in the University of Maryland. And Birmingham jail is very close to me in Alabama. And here is where he wrote the letter from the Birmingham jail, one of his most illustrious pieces of writing. Okay, and he said, unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. Now, I'm hoping that also includes Ukraine and Russia. I want unarmed truth and unconditional love somehow to break through the barriers. Okay, next slide. So Gandhi, we know about Gandhi, be the change we want to see in the world. And of course, his whole adult life, after he stopped being a lawyer, was trying to get people to do non-violent communication with each other to solve the problems without violence. Okay. I don't know if people have heard of this lady, Helen Keller. She was born blind and deaf, and so she couldn't speak well. And she was very unhappy, and she would go around and tear things up in her house and be mean to her little brother. And she had a terrible attitude when she was a kid because she could not communicate. And then a wonderful teacher came into her life named Annie Sullivan and helped turn that all around and taught Helen to learn to speak and learn to read using her hands. And the way that the fingers went into the palm of her hand, a whole new way of conversing. And then she became the first deaf graduate, deaf and hard of hearing graduate. And she went in the United States, I believe, and she went all around this country and other, my country and other countries, talking about peace, talking about kindness and education. Okay. Let's go. Do most of you know this guy, Nelson Mandela? Wonderful person. And here's what he said. Okay, now he was in prison for many, many years, but when he got out, he became a great person in African government. He said, if you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. And then he becomes your partner. Now, I really like that. Okay. Albert Einstein. We don't think of him as necessarily a peace builder, but look what he says. Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. So I see him differently when I think about what he says concerning peace. Okay, next slide.
Sorry, I'm just having a technical problem. Bear with me one moment.
Okay. I just want to say something to everybody. I hope that that you can get a flavor of some of these people. I just picked them, not at random, but because they speak to me. And I think you probably have your own famous peace mentors, peace builders that you would consider. If you had a chance just to sit down, have a cup of coffee or some tea, and think about who are your peace mentors. This one is a picture of my friend Jing Lin. And she and I started a group, a peace building discussion group at the University of Maryland. And she has gotten me into all kinds of peace studies and books and this and that, and presentations. And thank God for her, because she helped change my life. And one of the things that she likes to talk about is we're all family members, and we are living on this earth as family members. Not only are we humans family members, but we are family members with the grass, with the trees, with everything around us in the atmosphere, good or bad. We are all family members. And that's why we need to be careful and think about climate change and what we could do, because climate change hurts the humans. Climate change hurts the other members of our family. Okay. Here's another peace builder, Buddha. And some of my favorite spiritual writers are Buddhists. Pema Chodron from Canada, and then Sharon Salzberg from the United States, and they have taught all around the world. And I am sure that there are so many that you know who have been using spirituality as a tool for peace. And Buddha said, peace comes from within. Don't try to seek it outside of yourself. It comes from within, and then it spills over. Then inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event control your emotions. I really like that. Okay. Now, I found this to be very interesting, a picture of Christ and Krishna, Christianity and Hinduism holding hands. So, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. And then Krishna says, Namaste, Namaste. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. And I would say that for all of you who are here today, even if I can't see you at this very moment. Okay. Here's from the Tao Te Ching, which is the way of virtue. And it's from the 5th century before the Common Era. So long, long time ago. So in Taoism, there's no peace in the world without peace in the nation. There's no peace in the nation without peace in the town. There's no peace in the town unless there is peace in the home. Now listen to this. There is no peace in the home without peace in the heart. So this is just coming closer and closer and closer. Peace in the heart is where it's got to come from. Okay. Now, I wish I had a great Korean, and somebody has to tell me who should have been here from Korea or from somewhere else in the neighborhood. This is Muhammad from Islam, and he said, Allah has revealed to me that you must be humble toward one another, not pressing, not pushing, but being humble. And then there's every reward for kindness to every living thing. Okay, and both of these are from the Quran. Okay. So we have reached the question again of how can we integrate peace in language classes? And I have mentioned before, and I'll keep saying it, you are already a peace builder to some degree or another if you teach language and culture. Whether you are consciously doing this as a peace builder or not, you're already extending yourself in those directions. And how can you integrate peace consciously? You can use peace activities to enhance teaching and learning of language and culture. Oh, hey, very good. Okay, I needed that. Maria, thank you. Then how can we integrate peace into language classes? I will show you one way, and it happens to be a way of mine, but there are lots of other ways. And so Jocelyn will have to tell you about that some other time in her session. Okay, I'm not going to talk about positive psychology. I want to just focus on peace. But positive psychology does kind of go together with peace. Okay, let's go. Here's what I want to show you. There are several dimensions in the language of peace approach. Inner peace, see that big blue oval, inner peace within ourselves. Then there are three aspects of social peace. Interpersonal, that's me with you, one-on-one. Okay, intergroup, that has to do with between races, between genders, between gender identities, as we're now seeing around the world. We can't just talk about gender, we need to talk about how people identify and with whom regarding gender. Then race is not doing too well in my country right now. And then religious groups, all of those are intergroup areas where peace can become stronger. Then international and intercultural, that is also part of social peace. Then what's on the outside? Most areas, most people who talk about peace do not include ecological peace, environmental peace. But I think we live in the world, the environment takes care of us, and ecological peace, we have to think about it. We have to not clear cut the forests and wipe out all the ecosystems in that place. We need to consider what we mean about ecological peace. Okay, let's go on. Now, how does the language of peace approach help us to teach peace? Well, here are some of my favorite ways. We teach to the whole person, the mind, the rational mind, the emotions, the physicality, the person in context, teach to the whole person. Then using funds of knowledge, I don't know if you know that term, but funds of knowledge are the gifts that our students bring, whether they have a lot of education or whether they don't. Each student brings many gifts to the classroom and knows a lot of things that we could take advantage of and help. The student can help teach other students, and that is a form of peace. Use peace activities. I'm going to show you some of these in the classroom. And you already know many teachers are peace builders already without knowing it. Let's keep going. Okay, we're going to skip positive psychology because we don't really have a lot of time. So here's an activity: reframing and sharing the situation. There may be something going on at work for this person. She doesn't look very happy. There's something happening, perhaps with other people, or maybe the computer broke or whatever. Can that person look at the situation differently? That is reframing. Is taking the picture frame and turning it a little bit sideways, looking at the situation in a different way. And sometimes reframing allows us to share feelings with people around us in a safe environment. Even if you don't share feelings, if you're looking at the situation in a whole new way, that's fine. Okay. Now here is more on reframing. That is changing the point of view, changing from your initial feelings, or changing from stereotypes. Okay. One aspect of reframing is to let go of emotional icebergs. Okay, here are some. Now, I don't know if any of these fit you or ever did, but I am too fat. I'm too old. Now that one is getting to me right now. I don't want to think about that. It's getting to me. Okay, I'm not smart enough. I always fail. My house is too small. My brother hates me. How do you change that emotional iceberg? You change it by saying the opposite. I'm not too fat. I think I'm fair. I think I'm slim. I'm not too old. I can study whatever I want. My brother doesn't hate me. I just need to talk to him more so that he'll understand me and I'll understand him. Okay. Letting go of a grudge or bad feeling. Okay, here's your reframing. This is a mirror, but it could just be a picture frame. And you turn it a little bit and you see something different. So let go of a grudge or bad feeling. Put it in a balloon, a mental balloon, and let it go in and let it disappear. You know, let that balloon go up in the sky and it'll go away. Or say the opposite of the grudge. Okay. Let's go on to next. You already know this, I think. Visualizing. This is one way to expand students' thinking in a peaceful way. So ask students to visualize their success. How that would be in EFL, TEFL, whatever you're calling it. Ask them, what would it feel like if I were as successful as I want to be in learning English? Okay, or visualize something funny or entertaining about the situation you're in. Now, I like this picture because this person is jumping in a long distance, at a long distance from one place to another. And visualizing helps. Okay. Using positive self-talk to increase motivation and self-esteem. Here are some examples. I'll just give a few of positive self-talk. My favorite activities are, okay, I like to read novels. Some of your students might listen to songs in English. Go down a few. I feel good about myself as an English learner. I like writing in my diary. This is a wonderful thing I have experienced. I love it when somebody understands what I say. I just love it. In another language or even in English. You know, sometimes people actually get you in your own language and you're just thrilled. Okay. Just go on. Oh, this is a very good one. Savoring. That means enjoying something wonderful. And that could be share interesting events with some other people. Build memories by taking a photograph in your mind, a real photograph or a photograph in your mind, so that you could think about this again, this wonderful event. Now she's eating something very good. She has her dessert right there. So she's savoring. Focus on the positive elements, block out the negative ones. Okay, maybe it's hot and humid where she is. Maybe that doesn't feel so great, but she's focusing on the best things. And they make her feel totally tuned in. Okay. I like this because I tend to catastrophize. If something feels bad, I will make it seem terrible. You know, I'm sort of dramatic like that. So if you or any of your students tend to do that, this is a way to smooth it out. Ask the students if something's getting on them and they are unhappy or depressed or something. Ask them, what is the worst thing that could happen here? What is the catastrophe that could happen? Okay, then what is the best thing that could happen out of this? That's the ideal case. And then ask, what is the most likely case? It's not usually the worst. It might not be the best, or it might, but what is the most likely case? And then students start peeling themselves off of the walls and the ceilings. They feel calmer. And they are not catastrophizing anymore. They are getting more stable and understanding what is most likely to happen. Okay, next slide. Oh, I love this one. Now, some of these you may have heard of already, or maybe you do them. This is the 3 good things exercise, and it helps to increase optimism. We can do this actually easily. Write down 3 good things that happened every day for a week. So every night, take 3 or 4 minutes and jot down 3 good things that happened. And then, if you have any more time, or if your students have any more time, they could write down, why did it happen? Or how does this good thing mean to me? Or how can I have more of this? Okay, so, you know, for somebody, it might be chocolate. I had a bar of chocolate today. Well, what does that mean to me? How can I get more? Or I saw my brother, we had a good chat. Or I did well in English today. Whatever the 3 good things are. And then if they do this for a week and maybe extend it for the next week, their attitude is going to change. Okay. Now, I learned this from an ESL teacher at a conference. And it's called the SMILES activity. And here's what you do. She made this up. Share gratitude 3 times a day with somebody else or just in a journal. So that's the S. M, and smiles. Meditation moment, 5 minutes. Just be quiet, meditate, sink into yourself. And believe it or not, the thinking part of your brain gets bigger when you calm down, periodically calm down. Now, I think that's very cool. I hope it happens to me. The eye and smiles. Do some intentional acts of kindness. 5 times a day. Well, it could be 1 time a day. Jocelyn did this for me. She helped me get in touch with my student in Daegu, and whom I had not seen for 20 years. So, act of kindness. Okay, then look back for 2 minutes, write a note or draw a picture about something positive that happened. That's the L, look back. Exercise. That means the physical exercise. 15 minutes a day. Okay, if that's too much, 10 minutes a day. Then S for in smile, social spending. Spend a little money or time on somebody else. And I like that. So she just thought of this because she knew about positive psychology, and she taught her students how to do this. Okay, next one. Oh yeah, ask your students, no matter what their level of English is, to journal about love and what love means to them. And this is from one of my grad students when she took her job at a university, her first main professional job. And then these are my student friends. This one is my husband with the dog. So journaling about love. Okay. I like this. Be an artist of life. And Aristotle said the soul never thinks without a picture. So that goes really well with me. I love pictures. So ask students to look at the pictures like those on the following slides and find out what is happening. How does it make me feel? How would I write about it? So I have a whole bunch of these artists of life pictures in my first book, The Language of Peace. But let's go on and I'll show you some of these pictures. Okay. This one on the right is by my sister. Then there's a picture that I took of my husband and a young man that he has been tutoring. Now down at the bottom is not so peaceful. Being in jail, especially a person who was not a criminal and does not deserve to be there. So your students can talk about peaceful and not peaceful images. Let's go on. All right, these are images that my students, me, and friendship. This is being an artist of life, taking pictures and thinking about the love that is part of them, the friendship. Incidentally, the guy on the bottom right is from Turkey, and the far right is from Ghana. And he turned out the bottom right. He's a priest in Ghana who got his PhD in second language acquisition. And then the other one is a professor of English language in Cyprus. Okay. So here's one, an image of, for me, peace, where people are getting along, men and women, different skin color, perhaps different socioeconomic levels, whatever. Okay. This next activity, drawing or writing to describe peace. The question is for the students, what is peace? Or peace is whatever they want to say. And we have done this, my friends and I have done this activity in many settings and around the world. And the students have all kinds of things to say. Very brilliant. So draw pictures or use words. And then if a teacher wants to organize results, the teachers and students can write about these results and publish them, including pictures. Now, in a class blog, I say that, however, the results actually have occurred, have been published in 2 books for several different classes because the results were so fascinating. Okay, 2 books for teachers.
Yeah, time is almost up. I was wondering, would you like to take some questions?
Yes, I would. One thing I would like to, could we just go to the last slide?
Yeah, sure. One moment.
I want to give people my email. Okay, what I want to do is give you my email. So if you want these slides, I can send them to you. And you would be able to see the whole thing. Or if you have questions about integrating peace into your classrooms, helping the students in that way, RebeccaOxford@gmail.com. And what I think some of you might want is to know, how can you in your particular situation with students whose English may or may not be really great, how can you do this in your own classrooms? And how can you do it without changing your whole curriculum? Well, we have really easy ways for you to use your own curriculum and just make a few little tiny things different. And I will be able to show you how to do that. I can't do it in this presentation because I have to talk to you about your own situation. But please get hold of me if you are at all interested. Write to me. Okay, now we can talk together.
I'm going to stop sharing the presentation now, and maybe we can switch to the gallery view. So I just got a message as well. If Rebecca, if you're okay, we can also upload the slides onto the Discord as well, into the appropriate channel, if you're okay with that. And we can provide everyone with a link later on the Discord to those slides as well. So yeah, I think now we do have a little bit of time for some free chatting. I know that the next people for the next session will start to be coming in, and I'll be handing over to the next moderator as well. But in the meantime, if anybody wants to type into the chat box or turn on their mics and chat with Rebecca, I think that's okay. Thank you for a really wonderful session, Rebecca.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Jian, okay. Very good, thanks. Any questions or any comments? I need to learn from you. You don't just need to learn from me, so.
Hi, Rebecca. My name is Elsa Tangwe Ku. I'm here in Seoul. Thank you for your great talk. I have a question for you.
Yes.
So you're reflecting wonderfully about how we can center peace within ourselves and the communities around us. But what does it look like for us to actually help our learners to do peace as an act?
Well, how old are your learners?
I'm actually a graduate student right now, but my learners have ranged from grades 1 through 4 into adults. So I'm all over the place.
Okay. There's a wonderful article for how to teach peace in elementary education or primary school. One way that happens is there's always some little conflict that comes up in the classroom where the kids don't understand each other, or there's somebody wants this pencil and the other one wants the same pencil. So, or they might be fighting about something else. There are little groups that can be created to discuss these things. And they're called restorative justice groups. They're called, just peace discussions and whatever. And sometimes there is an object that is passed around, like a little piece of wood. And the student who has that, it's a peace symbol. Student who has that at a given time gets to speak without anybody interrupting. And there are various little techniques that I can send you the article, or I let you see where you can get it. But wonderful ideas that could be used at that age, at multiple other ages, all the way from primary school up through graduate school, or in adult education too.